Raquel, welcome to this little conversation that we are going to have.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know you very well, but I know you are involved in really very fantastic work and noble work that is in the environment that you are doing right now. Could you please introduce yourself so that we know you a little more?
Okay, my name is Raquel Thomas-Ceasar. I work with the Iwokrama International Center for Rainforest Conservation and Development. It's a long acronym, but we can refer to it as Iwokrama. And I'm a director there, and I'm in charge of resource management. And this is natural resource management, not human resource management, and also training. We have a very good training component. That's my main portfolio there. But it also involves work with research, public relations, communities, and different aspects as well.
Talking about Iwokrama, I heard a few things from Father Malcolm and other people and reading a few things on the newspaper. The work that you do, and it is like conservative area, isn't it?
Okay, Iwokrama is a forest reserve, if you want to put it in that context. It's a protected area. And how it was developed in 1989, then President, well, late President Hoyt, made this space available to the Commonwealth. So it is a Commonwealth program. And so we have an MOU with the Commonwealth that was signed in 2005. Not 2005, 1995, sorry. Now, in 1996, late President Jagan, he signed a document that would have made Iwokrama get legal status. So it was passed. The Iwokrama Act was passed in Parliament. So that completed us being the Iwokrama International Center for Rainforest Conservation and Development. This area is large. It's 1 million acres. It's a very interesting area because it lies north of the beautiful Rupununi savannas as well. So it's completely forested, but it's north of the Rupununi savannas, and it has a public road running through it, which goes to Brazil. So if you're traveling from Georgetown to Brazil or to Lethem, you need to go through the Iwokrama forest.
Yes. And I had few opportunity to travel through that road. Road is not very pleasant to travel on. But
it is right now.
Right, but it's beautiful. As you said, it's beautiful to travel through this rainforest, and it rains, and nature and animals crossing the road. It's beautiful. But as you said, it's Commonwealth initiative. In line, I mean,
it's a Government of Guyana initiative.
Okay.
And the offer was made to the Commonwealth. So that's what gives it the international flair. And they accepted it as a program. So it is a very important partnership that we have with the Commonwealth. But we have a number of very important partnerships, and one of them very important partnerships, aside from the Government of Guyana, is the one that we have with the local communities that we work with there. There's 16 indigenous communities that are associated with the Iwokrama forest, mostly Makushi. We have 9 indigenous tribal nations in Guyana. There's one community that lies within the forest, and there are 15 others that lie south of the Iwokrama forest. Most of those are in the savannas, but some of them are forested as well.
And how does that connect to the Amazon? Is there something relation?
Okay, let me explain. I think we need to explain the Amazon. I know we're selling, I think often we sell Guyana as the Amazon adventure and so on. But Guyana actually sits on a very old geological formation, which is known as the Guyana Shield. So we are actually part of what is called the Guyana Shield ecosystem. And there's 6 countries that are involved in that on this shield. So we have French Guyana, Suriname, northern part of Brazil, we have part of a lot of Venezuela, and a part of Colombia as well. So those are the 6 countries. It's very diverse, very low populations compared to many other parts of the world, but also very high cultural diversity. As you can see, many languages represented there. So you have English, Dutch, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. Then we have many, many different indigenous tribal nations, so you have those languages associated as well. So there's a lot of cultural diversity within the shield. Why the Guyana Shield is very important is one of the last remaining tracts of tropical intact rainforest, only one of 4 large tracts of intact tropical rainforest in the world. The others being Central Democratic Republic of Congo, Papua New Guinea, and then we have Amazonia.
Okay.
So while sometimes we are all lumped together as the Amazon, the Guyana Shield system is very unique.
Okay.
If you observe how the rivers flow in Guyana, most of the rivers flow north to the Atlantic Ocean. There's one river that flows south into the Amazon. So what happens in the Rupununi area, what we call the North Rupununi area, once a year, when you have the long rainy season, the river levels rise, the rivers flood, and it overflows, and that area becomes flooded. So in that area, what you have happening is you have the Guyana Shield and the Amazonian systems merging, and that makes that area, the Rupununi, have an incredible diversity, biodiversity, especially for fish and for birds, because you have these two systems or ecosystems interacting. Because remember, there's the one river that flows into the Amazon as well. So it's very, very, very interesting. The savannas is very interesting. It's beautiful, and like the rainforest, you also have a high level of biodiversity for certain species or certain groups of taxa. Having the forest there is very, very important on many levels. So first of all, rainforest contains 50% of the world's biodiversity. So just from the biodiversity level, it's very important.
Yes.
They also call trees the lungs of the earth. Right? The trees are important for rainfall generation. The roots of the trees also hold the soil together. So if you didn't have the trees, you'd have a lot of erosion into our rivers and streams, and that would cause a lot of pollution, in a sense, turbidity and those kinds of things. So from that angle, it's also very important. There are many other uses: provision of food for people. The forest, as indigenous people say, listen, the forest is our supermarket. That's where we go. That's how we survive. The forest is also important for culture and knowledge. If the forest wasn't there, a lot of our knowledge would be eroded about things of the rainforest. The possibilities of many medicines would disappear. A lot of medicines and pharmaceuticals actually have been derived from plants from the tropical rainforest. So it's very important that we conserve and have our forests left standing. Now, Iwokramas, we are about conservation, but our thoughts on conservation is that it must include sustainable use, because at the end of the day, people have to live.
Yes.
So using is not a problem, it's how we use. And how the area is set up is that half of the area is set aside as a wilderness preserve. It will never be touched, but the other half is set aside as what we call a sustainable utilization area. So we're involved in things like timber harvesting, sustainable timber harvesting, sustainable tourism. We do training as a business. Those are some of the business activities that we're involved in, because conservation also has to pay for itself.
Yes.
And there is a thought, there's a sentence that I like to use. Conservation without money is just a conversation.
That's a lovely phrase. That's a lovely proverb. Yeah.
Yes.
And you just said how we use it. I still remember Pope Francis, when he was installed as Pope, in his inaugural address, he did touch upon environment, and he appealed to all the leaders of the church and government and environmentalists and so on and so forth. He told them, clearly told them, we got to stop exploiting the environment and the nature, because how we use it, because it is ours.
Yeah.
It's given to us, but not to exploit, isn't it? For that matter, animals, birds.
Not to exploit, in the way that we are currently doing it. And we're talking it from a global perspective. There's a big crisis right now in terms of climate change. There are few people who said it's not happening, but the evidence is clear, the research is there, and it's happening at a rapid rate. Forests are integral to maintaining climate stability. So how we use these spaces are critical. And we may not see the effects, but I think we will. But definitely our children and our grandchildren, the new generations, will see the effects. But many people are saying now that they're seeing the effects. You talk to indigenous communities, and they said, listen, things are not like they used to be. We're seeing changes in our weather patterns. And because of these changes, our plants are not flowering as they used to. They're coming in different seasons now. We can't predict, you know. We're seeing changes where we have seen our seawall. We hear of our parents talking about when they were children. The water was how far out. Now, 50 years later, it's so much closer. So we know we are 6 feet below sea level. So we're living in a critical zone. Climate change causes sea level rise. If sea level rises, Georgetown will no longer exist. We will all be flooded out. So we have a vested interest. And Guyana has always committed on the highest level on many conventions, Convention of Climate Change, Degradation, Biodiversity Conventions, and so on. We have been committing on the international scene to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. We don't have a problem. We are not an emitter. But we have signed on all these commitments so that we don't become one of those countries that are big emitters. But the big countries are the ones that are, the very developed countries especially, are the ones that are causing a lot of the emissions. And they have to put their money where their mouth is and really commit to reducing. Personally, I feel we're already on a runaway train in terms of climate change. I'm sorry to sound so pessimistic. And I think what we need to start really seriously doing is put systems in place to adapt to the inevitable.
I would tell you are pessimistically optimistic.
Yes, yes. I think humans have a great capacity to adapt. And it's not impossible that we can adapt now, but we have to stem what is happening now. Countries have to commit to reducing levels now. If not, we're setting this planet down a path we may not recover from.
Yes.
Right, so we have to be very careful how we do things.
You said rightly, we are part of the nature, isn't it?
We are animals.
Yes, we are animals, of course. But do you think that we human beings think that we are superior to the nature, so we have the domination? We can dominate.
I don't think indigenous people think that.
Exactly.
If you talk to how many indigenous people think of the environment, they respect it. And especially if you talk to the older people, they would not go and kill. If they see 5 labras, they won't kill all. They would leave some. But if somebody from the coast who's trying to feed supply a restaurant, they go in and they see 5 labras, they're going to kill all. Because they're not thinking about their indigenous brothers. They're not thinking about regeneration of the forest. They're just thinking about how much they can make. And we have to stop thinking in this selfish way. We have to think holistically that whatever we do, it has an impact. You see 5 labra, take 1, leave the rest, please. You know, it's not that we're saying don't hunt, you know, ban this, ban that, because we don't want to get to the point where we ban people from doing certain things, but just do it in a good way, that you respect wildlife, you respect the people living in the area that depends on it. Don't kill our cats. Some communities depend on these jaguars and so on for tourism as well, and it's illegal to kill or capture any cats as well, any of the six species of cats. And another thing for the wildlife trade, we have a legal wildlife trade. How we transport our animals are very important. Let's not do it in a cruel way. Let's not cram 40 birds in a little cage. It's cruel. We have to think of life. We can't just say, okay, this is money. These are living things. Even trees are living things. And we have to be careful how we treat our plants as well. You don't walk into a rainforest and just start chopping and slashing trees just because, you know. When you slash a tree, you have the possibility of introducing fungal disease into the tree. So you have to be very careful how you do it.
It's wonderful. And as you said, in any way, I'm sure the church will always promote this, because church has been always, Father Malcolm was very active in Iwokrama project, and I'm sure we all can work together, irrespective of who we are, because it is our nature.
I find there's a deep link between compassion and love for the environment.
Yes.
When you teach young people to love the environment, they develop a compassion for humanity. That's my view.
Yes.
From what I've seen and observed with people. A lot of people who are involved in environmental work and care for the environment also have a deep compassion for humanity. And I think we must always see the interlinking of many things. So not only, I'm a great believer of the arts as well, and creativity.
Yes.
So are the arts, the environment, you can't separate the arts from environment as well. Humanity, compassion, everything is interlinked.
Yes.
It's like the forest, it's a big web of every single species is interlinked.
Yes.
If you lose one, it affects the whole system.
Yes.
So,
and we are all, in a way, integrated human beings. We cannot live isolated somewhere.
No.
But that I have experienced when I was in the interior, in the Rupununi.
Yes.
People might think them they are living far away on their own, but they're not. They are with the nature, and the communities living together is beautiful there.
It is.
And I always tell people from Georgetown, those who have not been to the interior.
Many have not.
Yes, of course. Tell them, please take a walk.
Yes.
To the interior. It's beautiful there, isn't it?
It is. It's gorgeous.
Would you please tell our viewers, is there anywhere they can, website or Facebook page, they can access these projects?
For Iwokrama, our website is www.iwokrama.org. And Iwokrama is spelled IWOKRAMA. We also have a Facebook page. It might be easier to find us there, and you can direct questions. I help to manage that page. And even if you want to find out about other areas, if you want to link up with Andy or the Mangrove Project, they have a page too. But you can send a query to me through the Facebook, the Iwokrama Facebook page. I'm happy to share. We work together with many other organizations to promote each other. We're not selfish. Everybody has something different to offer. So we work with many tourism organizations in Guyana, including we partner with wilderness explorers, individual tour operators, and many rainforest tours, many other operators we work with. And then we also link up with many resorts as well. We promote those. So, like especially in the Rupununi, people like to visit all these areas. So they come to Iwokrama for a few days, maybe go to our Canopy Walkway site, go to Sarama Village, go to Rockview, Karanambo, those kinds of things. So we try to sell each other as well. So people can have a really holistic experience when they come to that area.
I like that holistic
You can't be greedy.
Yes.
There's room for all of us. There's room for tourism is small in Guyana, it's growing, and we have to support each other.
That's correct.
Yes.
Raquel, on that note, thank you so much for coming on this Catholic TV and sharing your passion for the nature, and particularly Iwokrama Sanctuary. Hope that all of us, everybody here in the Catholic Church and whole Guyana will support this beautiful and noble project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.